Welcome back. I'm Steve Adubato. We are joined by Mitch Livingston, President and CEO of NJM Insurance Company, one of the many underwriters of those of us in public broadcasting. Mitch, let's get right to this. The role of an insurance company is complex, but also the role of the CEO. You and I talk leadership a lot. How has COVID-19 in any way altered or changed your leadership approach?
Well, Steve, the COVID situation developed quickly. So from end of February into early March, things were moving at a rapid pace. Made us rethink how we were guaranteeing the safety of our employees. So we had to quickly. Originally, it looked like we would be modifying slightly, cleaning a little bit more, not shaking hands, keeping a little social distance, washing hands more often, but it was a manageable thing. Quickly getting into March, in about a 10-day period, it became way more than that. And we realized we needed to get employees home, we needed to get them safe, and we needed to show some flexibility and support and make sure that we're doing right by them first so that we can ultimately serve policyholders. So from leadership, we normally drive, we pick a date, we want to accomplish something, a goal and objective, we drive to that date. Here, we had to show flexibility, we had to show support, we had to make sure that we were changing with the changing times, right? So every week, everything changed a little bit. The decision you made Monday in March in the first week was probably the wrong decision the second week because of changing circumstances. So we had to listen and we had to support and we had to make sure that we kept those lines of communication open. So it really changed the way we drove business projects, but more importantly, the way we listened to our employees.
But the other thing, Mitch, is talk about being flexible. It's interesting. Policyholders, you have a relief program, and I want to get this right. Was there a 15% reduction in premiums?
Yeah, Steve, early on we realized while we were adapting, so were our policyholders, and they were doing the right thing. They were sheltering in place to support their own health, the health of their families, health of communities, which meant their cars are sitting in their driveways, right, or in their garage, and they weren't going anywhere. We've always shared profits with policyholders, either through dividends or lower prices up front. This was a way we recognized we were going to be charging more premiums than we needed to charge because the cars weren't moving. So we were able to quickly decide over March and April that we'd give 15% of the equivalent of 3 months of premium back, which ended up being about $42 million to our policyholders in checks that went out in May and June. Normally, we would do a dividend at the end of the year, October, November, when we had more profit than we needed, and we returned it always to policyholders. We've done it since 1918. But here, we could get it back in our hands quickly when a lot of them need it from a financial perspective, some of them out of work, and make sure that we're doing the right thing in real time, supporting them while they support themselves and the community.
It's interesting. The other piece of this is the giving back. And again, I mentioned NJM, a big supporter of NJTV News, a supporter of what we do. Giving back, I'm not going to turn this into a commercial, but you give back. You just do. And there are about $400,000, if I'm not mistaken, as part of a COVID relief effort that went to not-for-profits. One of them we know is the Mercer Street Friends, a great organization. What was that about, and what are you trying to accomplish with that?
So one of our core values has always been to support the communities we're privileged to serve. So we have a corporate giving budget of about $2.2 million every year that we support nonprofits in the area and in the expanding areas we're writing. This year, we realized we needed to continue to support those nonprofits because it's frankly part of their operating budget. They count on it every year, so you can't just immediately divert money. So what we were able to do, though, is allocate about $400,000 of that money to COVID relief programs, specifically to address the financial difficulties and other difficulties people were facing, and also increase our budget a little bit this year to make sure we were, again, supporting those communities.
But then again, some of that went to PPE, to frontline workers. Some of it went to food distribution, if I'm not mistaken, created additional warehouse space. I happen to know, I don't want to get into the weeds here, but at Mercer Street Friends, you created an expanded warehouse for food to be there for distribution, correct?
Yes,
Is that the role of a corporation to do that?
We have a storage facility that we use down the street from Mercer Street Friends. When we became aware that they were in need.
They're in Trenton, correct?
They're in Trenton.
Okay.
They needed to store a little bit more food for their giving efforts going forward. we had excess space, so they reached out to us and we offered to let them use that facility, which we did. We also, to your point on the PPE, we had, going back a ways, about 5,000 masks, surgical level masks that we had in storage here that we were able to give back to the state and some local hospitals when we first learned of the need for that. So part of the responsibility of a corporation, the way we've seen it, we always operated as a mutual from the day we were formed, is to help the community, to support the community, to interact with the community and be part of it. Frankly, it's the right thing to do, but it's also the right thing for our mission and the future of NJM. If we're part of the community, we're showing that outreach, we're doing what we need to do to support them. They become good policyholders, we develop long-lasting relationships, and that's part of the reason we're in business.
Mitch Livingston is President and CEO of NJM Insurance Company. Mitch, I want to thank you for joining us. Wishing you and all of your team at NJM all the best. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Steve.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, TD Bank, Englewood Health, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the Fidelco Group, Summit City MD, United Airlines, and by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Promotional support provided by Jaffe Communications and by New Jersey Globe.
It only gets better.